Hello again, everybody. I'm back after quite a long break. I think it's over a week since I last uploaded a video, and that's not like me, I know. In fact, a couple of you have been posting comments saying, "Hey Ben, you've gone quiet." And yes, I have. Now, I explained in the previous video that I wouldn't be uploading for a while because I went to Birmingham. I went to the Birmingham UFO group to do my talk. So, I mean, there may have been some of you watching this who are in the audience. It went very well indeed. I have recorded it. I've only recorded the audio, so it'll probably be on a Panmo radio, but I did say I would be away for a while. I went to Sufon as well the day before. It was a bit of a whistle-stop tour. So that's one reason I've been quiet. Another reason is my voice. As you can hear, my voice is still not right. I've got a drink here. I've been taking a lot of drinks actually when I do this video. It's really lingering. Now, I don't know how much longer it's going to go on. Like I said, it has improved slightly, especially in the last few days. It's enormously better than how it was. I'm still suffering from like sore throat. I've got pain here as well. That's why I keep rubbing this bit. For some reason I've got pain here. It seems to be connected with my throat. It takes a while to get over these things. That's another reason I haven't made a video. And the third reason is something I found out about on Saturday night after I got home from Birmingham. I found out that well, I was checking out one of my friends. I mean, this is a guy who's actually was one of my closest friends. I sent him. I hardly speak to him these days. I haven't spoken to him really haven't spoken to him much for the last 15 years or so. But we remained in touch. We exchanged Christmas greetings, things like that. What happened was in June I sent him a St. Theo's meme. It's like the Scrooge one, you know. Some of you might have seen it on social media. It was the Scrooge one that says Scrooge sticking his head out the window. "What day is it? Hello, young boy. What day is it?" And he replies, "Well, it's St. Theo's Day, Mr. Scrooge." I sent that as well. I might even include it in the video. I don't know. I did at the time. I checked back and I saw that he hadn't even seen it. He didn't have the tick that said he'd seen it on Facebook. Oh, that's strange, because normally he doesn't always reply to my comments, but he always sees them. My friend Barry. So I went to his timeline, and people were posting. The first post down was "Happy first birthday in heaven," and I thought, what? I knew it was, you know, I knew April had been his birthday. He would have turned 73. And I scrolled down, I saw a few more things, and then I saw posts by his relatives saying that he died. And he died actually in April 2021. I thought, what? My God. So this video is about my friend Barry. Now, you won't have heard of Barry, most of you. In fact, nearly all of you watching this won't have heard of Barry. Barry is someone who's not involved in any way in the conspiracy sphere. He may have, I don't know if he ever appeared in any of my videos. I don't think he did. He knew what I did. He knew what I did. He did watch occasionally, but he wasn't involved in what I did. That being said, he was very keen on spiritualism. He was a spiritualist, and I used to go with him to spiritualist churches. But apart from that, he was a normie. But he was someone I knew at the hospital. I met when I went to the hospital. When I first went to the hospital, I've actually put an article on the HPWA blog. Some of you might have seen it. I don't know if you read HPWA about this. Obviously, I was shocked. I was shocked to hell to find out he died. And you may be wondering, well, how come you've only just found out, Ben? I don't want to say too much about that right now because I am angry. I'm angry with somebody about that, but I won't say anything more about it. Okay, because maybe I will. I will maybe in the future. I'm not going to say anything right now. But basically, Barry was a man I met when I first started out at the hospital. He he was a civilian, and without a doubt he was the civilian I was closest to at that hospital. He was a telephonist. He was actually he worked on a telephone exchange, and he actually became telephone monitoring officer as well. He later left telephony, and he did several other things, including X-ray. He was in X-ray filing for a while. He was homeless for a while. I remember he actually slept in the telephone monitoring room. He used to go up to the porter's lodge to watch TV. He used to go up to the canteen to eat. And when he left the hospital, we remained in touch. Now, it's true, as I said, over the last 15 years or so of his life, we lost touch. Now, we didn't fall out. There was no recrimination or anything like that. We just simply drifted apart. Now, this had, again, I don't want to say too much, but this had a lot to do with another relationship in his life. But we did drift apart eventually. But we stayed in touch remained friends on social media. We exchanged Christmas greetings, like I said. Occasionally he'd ask me how I was. And indeed I sent him links to a couple of my videos. Now the videos I sent him to were the ones where, for example, My Confession, a reply to Stefan Molyneux, Nice Guys, a reply to Stefan Molyneux, and is there another one? I can't remember. I think I did 3 videos on this subject, but basically I was talking about the little experiments I did. And I mentioned that there were only 3 people I knew in my life during that entire period I was doing that experiment, which was about 12 years or so, or something like that, right? There was only 3 people I know who passed my test. Don't ask me to give details and explain right now, because don't ask me to give details. All right, but you can watch those videos. I'm not going to put links in the description box. It's just I've told you what their titles are. You can look them up. I just want this to be a simple video, and the reason I said that 3 people passed my test, that is, they didn't take advantage of me even when they knew they could, and Barry was one of them. He's one of those 3 people. As I said, that's how you know who your real friends are. They're not the ones that stick by you. I've heard it all said, people bullshit me about, oh, your friends are the people who stand by you when you need them. Oh, not really. Your friends are the people who don't take advantage of you even when they know they can. I was just imitating somebody's voice there. If he's watching, he knows who he is. But he failed. He failed the test. Barry, like I said, was in a position where I was vulnerable, or I was pretending to be vulnerable, and he didn't exploit that. I think it's consulting some notes here. When I joined the hospital portering service, I don't think it's any exaggeration to say he adopted me. He became a kind of father figure to me. Now, as I've explained before, I feel that my own parents have mistreated me. They've either neglected me or they've abused me, or allowed me to be abused. And you know the story. I've told you the story about Centaur and about Isabel Menzies' life. I'm not going to repeat myself again with that again, but I sensed that I was looking for other people in my life to replace that, which often happens with children and young adults, when they often a sign that they are kind of they've been abandoned by their parents in one way or another, is that they look for other older adults in their life to replace those relationships. Rather like my friend, my character Evan in Evan's Land. I kind of think maybe he was based a bit on me, because he's similar to me. Evan, of course, as you know, his best friend. If you read Evan's Land or listen to the audiobook, you'll know that he has a best friend and a girlfriend who are a lot older than him, because it's psychological. He's deprived of parental love, and I think I was a bit like that, and so Barry became a kind of father figure to me. He once called himself, he said, I'm your second dad, Ben. I says, I know. He was a guy who, I said, even though he was a civilian, he could drink like a porter, I'll tell you. He could drink like a porter. You know, we used to go out, we used to go out on the beer, go to various pubs. We were at pub, you know, go to various pubs and nightclubs and things. And he was cool. He was a cool guy. And we used to see comedians. I remember there's a comedian, Chris Cross. Barry sometimes used to interrupt him with spoonerisms, saying that was very smucking fart and things like that, because this guy did spoonerisms. Yeah, that was in this pub in Marston, where he lived in Marston in Oxford. I remember wherever he moved a few times. He moved quite a number of times over the course of his life, from when I knew him. I mean, he just divorced when I first met him, and he moved a number of times. And every time he moved somewhere, he'd find the nearest pub. His priority was to find the nearest pub and make it his local. He's probably a hospital porter in his past life. He may well become one now in his new life, I don't know. But Barry used to find these things, and these various pubs and used to go. And of course, when they became his local, they became mine. Yeah, the Jack Russell Marston, that was it. The barman, I remember, he had his big long hair. And there was this Canadian guy as well, he used to be a regular, and we used to go back to his flat afterwards, and we'd have like a few shots of whiskey and stuff like that. And he was a much older man than me. That's why he became kind of father figured. And he used to love this pub called the Grapes. There's a pub in the city centre called the Grapes, and we hired it for his 50th birthday party. And I sang karaoke. I mean, he brought like his stereo along. It wasn't a proper karaoke set, but he played all his songs. He played KLF. And I sang karaoke with them. I sang karaoke through the microphone. The place he lived in Marston, he actually lived with one of the senior porters, a guy called Roy. He lived in his house. I remember he had a room in his house. There were times, you know, there's like, I did sort of like feel, because of course he was, you know, we had our ups and downs. There was a time like when Roy was one of these wide boys. There was a time when he was Roy was like, we came back drunk and Roy started laying into me, just criticising me. And Barry and I sort of looked to Barry like thinking, well, Barry's going to back me up, he's going to defend me, and he didn't. And he also didn't stand up for me over the delivery suite business. I'll say more. I mean, I don't think I mentioned it in the last Syntheo's video. If not, I'll say more in the next Syntheo's video. I have written an article about it on. I've written an article about it on HPWA. Yeah, no links. You can find them yourself. I'm not in the mood for links. He was kind, though. He was very kind. When Louise was born, he was one of the first people who visited me. Had a big balloon saying, "It's a girl." Huge teddy bear saying, "It's a girl." He was so proud. We went on holidays a few times together. We went to the Isle of Wight after a night shift. My goodness me, that was a mistake. That was a bloody mistake. I was like Barry's. He didn't seem to need any sleep, strangely enough. And when we were in the Isle of Wight, of course, he wanted to stay on the town all night. He said, "Come on, go to bed at 1 in the morning. We'll go back the next day late." I was unconscious by 7 p.m. because, of course, I've always needed sleep. I've always been a sleeper. Even though very often you did miss out on sleep when you were a hospital porter, but and we went camping in Ireland. I remember that was great. We had to come home early. I mean, there's twice I've been to Ireland, right? The first time I went to Dublin, and Barry and I had plans to go to Dingle Bay and see the dolphin and everything, and we couldn't make it because Barry wasn't very good with money, and the day before we went off to Ireland, he contacted me and said, Ben, could you lend us some money? And I said, how much? About 300 quid. I went, what? And I said, where's your holiday money? He says, oh, I haven't got it. So I said, we can have 150. I don't have 300. I've got 300 for myself. You can have 150. We'll split it between us. So he said, okay. But of course that meant we had to come home early. So we didn't get to Dingle Bay. But I'll tell you what, it was great. And it was still a great time. We spent time in Dublin. That was it. We were in Dublin. We spent all the time around Dublin in Ireland. It was great. Funny enough, the second time I went to Ireland, I went to Cork and I had plans to go to Dingle Bay and couldn't go there. That's because I was with some little bastard. Oh, God. I went on holiday with the wrong person. Anyway, I'm digressing. But we slept. We went camping in Ireland. It was brilliant. It's the first time I'd ever been to Ireland. Great. It was great. Fantastic. And it was just yeah. It didn't matter that we ran out of money. Well, we ran out of money. You see, Barry was. I said he couldn't manage his finances very well, but I swear he paid back every damn penny. Every damn penny he ever borrowed from me. I lent him a lot of money over the years, probably up to about £1,000 altogether. He paid back every penny. He paid back every single penny. He was there for me when my kid died. You know, it's like of course, you know, men aren't supposed to be good friends like that. People are going to say, oh, you must have been gay then. No, we weren't. We were both straight, but we loved each other. I used to say something, Barry. You don't know how much I love you, Barry. And he says, I love you as much as more than you. I love you, though, Ben. It's like, but we were straight we were both straight as pokers. We both used to help each other find girlfriends. Barry was always better about that than me, probably because of my experiment, but he was always better at that than me. I once inadvertently almost ended up in a threesome. Now, it didn't happen, but this is funny. This is when he was living at the house in Marston with the senior porter. We went down to the, was it the Arena nightclub? No, was it the Arena? Oh, I forgot what it's called now. But we were like, he had like about a whole row, he had an array of about 3 or 4 casual girlfriends. And I went back early because, you know, like I said, I was much more of a lightweight than he was. And I went to sleep in his room, and I often slept on the floor of his room. But I actually thought, I'll sleep on top of his bed, and not in the bed. I'll sleep on top of his bed until he gets back. And this is about 2:30 in the morning. You know, the door opens and I'm asleep, right? And this woman jumps on top of me shouting, I'm going to fuck your brains out. She wasn't addressing me. She was addressing Barry, who was just outside the door. And I went, oh my God, it's Ben. Needless to say, I got out of the bed at that point. That's just an example of the kind of things we used to get up to. We used to have such fun. We went to the maternity ball together, like in black tie. And he had a number of friends. Some were better to him than others. I think I was the closest friend he had. But like I said, it was a kind of a father-son relationship, a surrogate father-son relationship, rather than like 2 adults. I mean, because of my experiment. So it was maybe I didn't, like I said, I didn't do it consciously, as I explained in the videos. But you see, I sent Barry links to those videos, and I said, I sent Barry links to the videos, and every time I published them, and I said, I'm really sorry, Barry, because I felt I was confessing to him as well that I'd not been the person he thought I was. And I always thought what I'd say to him if I met him, I'd say, look, I didn't mean to do it. It wasn't deliberate. It was subconscious. But you know, do you think you can get to know me as I am? And you know, you may not like me as much. You'll respect me, oh God, you'll respect me a lot more, but you won't like me as much. You may not like the real me as much. I hope you can. But of course that never came to pass. Never came to pass because he died. I had no idea he'd gone. Until last Saturday, he'd been dead more than 18 months. He died during the period of time where so many people within the conspiracy sphere were dying. Ian R. Crane in February, Gareth Davis, August, Kev Baker, January this year, Kev Baker died. Shirley Bolstock not long before then. I mean, it's just like, as I explained before, you know, I've done so many of these tribute videos and tribute shows on Panmo Radio. It's like it just felt like a mass exodus of souls, as I explained. But Barry was on that list, though Barry's nothing to do with the UFO paranormal conspiracy sphere, apart from him being into spiritualism. Apart from him being into spiritualism. Yet it seems kind of fateful that he disappeared at the same time. That he left this world around the same time period, and I had no idea. Sure, I mean, I did think at one point, you know, at some point I'm going to find out he's dead, because, I mean, we hadn't spoken to each other for like 15 years, well, except for the little greetings we sent each other. As I said, this was not a result of falling out. This was a natural drifting apart. At some point, I did think at some point I was going to, you know, a family member was going to contact me and tell me he died. I was preparing myself for that. And then there'd be a funeral, I'd go to the funeral. But again, I'm angry about it, but they never told me that he died. If you know who I'm talking about, Barry's relatives, please do not approach them on this matter, please. Leave them be. All right, it's not something I want to stir up. But it's just, you understand why I feel angry. He was like occasionally I used to talk to him about, I think, you know, it's kind of, when I started Panmo was kind of when I was drifting apart from him. But I did talk about David Icke and things like that beforehand, because I was into those things, you know, a good 5 to 10 years before I started Panmo. And he, you know, I couldn't persuade him of these things, but he was into spiritualism. He was very into spiritualism, apart from, you know, and he had a passing interest in ghosts, as spiritualists tend to, but he just was not. He was not interested in the other things I talk about. Couldn't get him into David Icke. But it was a hospital relationship, you know. It was in the hospital. I mean, those of you who maybe serving in the NHS and hospitals maybe understand it's a different world in there. It's a different world. Everything's different, and it's something you can only share with other people who are in that situation. That is acute care service. It's just like I just wonder how many other people are we going to lose in this run of deaths? How many more people are going to go? I mean, this is another one to add to the number that actually happened way back then, and I didn't know it. It happened all the way back then, and I didn't know. But maybe there are more to come. I don't think there are any more that I don't know about that have happened, but there's more to come. There may be more. How many more? Ian R. Crane, lost Gareth, lost Kev Baker, lost Shirley Bolstock, lost Barry. Is there any more coming? And this has led to more morbid thoughts like, am I the last? Am I on this list? How much longer have I got? I mean, I'm perfectly fit and well, you know, apart from I've got COVID, but I got over it, you know, and I'm getting over this sore throat. I don't have any other life-threatening health problems, but how much longer have I got? None of us know, do we? But, you know, I hope I see Barry again one day, because I do believe I've got a good chance of seeing him again one day. I'll find him one way or another. I'll cross I'll be like Robin Williams in What Dreams May Come. You know, I'll cross the Bardo, and I'll cross Purgatory. I'll find him. I'll find him when my time comes. I'll find him. Barry, if you're listening, mate, I'll find you. I swear, I'll find you. And you know, if I'll probably go. First thing, three things I'm going to do. I'm going to go looking for signs that he's trying to get in touch with me, and it'll be things. I'll say, Barry, get in touch with me. Make it something I don't expect, but leave me in no doubt that it came from you. Like Joe Dispenza says about the universe. I'm taking this time to create my day, and because that happened recently. I don't want to talk about it yet, but something did like that to do with Gareth did happen a couple of weeks ago. I'll say more another time. Second thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to the Spiritualist Church. I won't go to the same one because they were all into bloody masks and V words and things like that. I might go to a different one, and not a Greater World Church, maybe an SNU or an independent church. See if he tries to get in touch. Third thing, yeah, because the church I used to go to, the one I showed you, the Oxford Christian Spiritualist Church, it was Barry who got me into that. I actually go to that one because that was Barry's church. He was actually on the committee for that. So I'm not going to go back there. I'm going to go to a different one. I think there's another one in the city centre I'll go to. It's an SNU church, I think. Third thing I do is I'm going to go and visit his grave. Now, he doesn't have a grave. He was cremated, but his ashes were interred out the North Oxford Cemetery, so I'm going to go there as soon as I can and pay my respects. Which is why it's getting the, was it someone said, the team on the other side is getting big, and it feels like all the best people are leaving this side. And it's obvious. I thought this was just a conspirasphere. I thought this was just a truth movement. I thought, well, Ian R. Crane, Kev Baker, and people like, Gareth, I suppose it's because most of my in fact, nearly all my social life is tied up with the truth movement. But obviously, quite clearly, this affects other aspects of my life that are not affected to the truth movement. Beloved members of this team on this side are going as well, and even though, like I said, Barry was someone I'd learned to live without because we drifted apart. Since about 2008, we communicated maybe 4 or 5 times by social media messages. Happy birthday, Barry. Happy birthday, happy Christmas, stuff like that. But we never fell out. As I don't want us to go into the reason why we drifted apart right now. It was to do with other relationships he had. But I just thought I'd make a video, even though this is not really relevant to Hapanwo because it's not someone who's involved in the Hapanwo-esque world. But I just thought I'd check in. I really wanted to check in with you guys as well, and just say, look, I haven't gone away. I'm not giving up. I'm just taking time out to let my voice get better. And I thought I'd just let you know what I'm going through right now with Barry. I know maybe some of you watching this know him, because there is a bit of crossover, in terms of people who knew him. But thanks all of you for watching. I will be back as soon as I can with the usual Hapanwo TV activities. But I mean, where? I mean, I've got plans, which I'll let you know as soon as I can. Okay. Thank you very much. Hope you're doing all right, all of you guys. See you soon.